Hi there, I'm Granny, and today we're talking about domestic violence and how to identify it. And there are so many different types of domestic violence. It's not all physical. Some of the red flags: if you've got a partner that's suddenly very jealous, excessively jealous and possessive. Who's that guy you're talking to? Talking to him for a long time. Have you been seeing him? That sort of stuff. That is not acceptable. Isolation tactics, discouraging contact with your family and friends. They're trying to get you away from them. It might come across initially as caring. Oh, your sister was so nasty to you. I don't want you hanging around her. She's just mean. You don't deserve that. It sounds like they're caring, but they're actually trying to isolate you. Controlling behaviour, monitoring your phone, your finance, and your whereabouts. Who did you see? What's that number? I don't recognise that. Who have you been talking to? Or where have you been? Oh, I noticed you were over at such and such. If someone's keeping an eye, that's stalking. That is not normal behaviour. And as far as your phone, you are allowed to have privacy. Everyone is entitled to that. Gaslighting. That is one of the most destructive of all psychological type abuse. This is when someone starts making you doubt your memory, your feelings, and your sanity. Look, years ago I used to drive a tractor when I was younger, and my father died and my mother needed the paddock ploughed. I was only learning, but I still knew how to plough. Anyway, I offered to do it. My brother said, "You can't drive a tractor." I said, "Yes, I can. Dad taught me." "No, he didn't." No, you don't. You can't drive a tractor. You can't do it." He was an adult, and I saw myself as a child, even though I was in my teens. And I trusted his vision over my own. I was doubting my own reality. I doubted my own memories. That is the beginning of the end of damaging your confidence. Okay, types of abuse. We're talking physical abuse. Okay, scratches, cuts, bruises, injuries, broken bones even. Some other things, they might flinch at fear of you touching because they've been hurt before when someone's grabbed them and thrown them or something. So that's fear. You might see them being very careful, certain movements due to pain. So they may have hidden bruises and hidden injuries under their clothing. Then there's emotional and psychological abuse. Constant criticism, humiliation, name-calling, threats, and even intimidation. Do you know, my ex used to think it was funny, but he used to call me Little Big Nose. I don't know about you, but I don't see that as a compliment. That is quite nasty. These are the sort of things that damage your self-worth. Feeling worthless, anxious, and depressed. You're feeling worthless if someone's constantly criticising you. Oh, for God's sake, can't you get that right? I showed you how to do it. It's so easy. What's your problem? That is criticism. Okay, that's putting you down. You're not very smart. That sort of thing makes you worthless, feel worthless, brings anxiety, and yeah, you're going to be depressed if you're not happy, aren't you? Walking on eggshells to avoid conflict. Look, I remember somebody telling me a while back, the husband was a bit out of sorts, and she said, "Oh God, it's like walking on eggshells sometimes." What she's actually saying is that he's feeling angry, and if I say the wrong thing, he's just going to blow up and abuse us. That's fear. Walking on eggshells is frightened of making a comment or a noise or anything to upset an angry person, basically. No one has the right to abuse their family just because they're in an angry mood. You do not take that out on innocent people. That's the art of cowards. Sexual abuse, coercion or pressure into sexual acts you're not comfortable. Your husband wants to bring another woman home and have a threesome. If you're not up for that, that is him pressuring you to do what he wants. That is sexual abuse. You do not need to do that. If you feel unsafe or violated during intimacy, he's done something to make you frightened. Okay, he's done something really nasty. He might have grabbed you, might have started off as intimacy and ends up as a violent sexual act. Okay, that is sexual abuse. Withholding affection as punishment. You didn't give him the answer he wants, so suddenly he's giving you the cold shoulder treatment like you don't exist. Or you go to cuddle up to him at night and he pulls away. He's withholding physical abuse. Is withholding physical emotion. He's punishing you. Another type is financial abuse. No access to the personal accounts. So he gives you the money for groceries, but he doesn't give you money for anything else. Or if you want something, you have to go through him. So he has control of your financial situation. Being forced into account for every dollar spent. He gives you $100 for groceries. You come home and it's like, that's all you got. What have you done with the rest of the money? You show him the receipt. No, that's not right. What have you been spending on? That is financial abuse. You're being forced to account for every cent. He's got the balance of the account. It's not his money. It's both of your money. Prevention from working or studying is a technique for isolation. If you can't work or study, you can't make new friends, and you don't discuss what's happening at home. So you don't have someone to bounce ideas off whether this is normal or not. Social abuse, being publicly shamed or embarrassed. My ex used to love to embarrass me in public. He would say the most outlandish things just. So people went, oh, and I was with him. He knew I hated it. Lies spread to damage your reputation. I remember the time, about a month after I left him, I got a job in a hospital straight away. He came in about a month later and I found out about it. So I went down, I gave him a few bucks to buy the newspaper, and I picked up a couple of bottles of Coke or something, stuff he liked, and I told him I'd give him a lift home when he got out, and went back and did my work. Well, I'd started making friends. I'd been there about a month I'd been there a few weeks, and I started making friends, and this one lass happened to be down there, and she recognised his last name and my last name. And she realised he was my ex-husband. Well, once he realised who she was, that she was a potential friend of mine, he's telling her he was as nice as pie. He couldn't have been a nicer guy if he tried. He's telling her that he's got no way of getting home, that he's probably going to have to hitch because it's such poor public transport. And he hasn't got a car because they helicoptered him in. Oh, poor me, knowing I was going to pick him up and take him home when he got out. So that's damaging reputation, and that damaged that friendship. That's what he was apt to do. Isolation from support networks. Now, if he's cut you off from family and friends, he's cut you off from going out unless he's around, etc., etc., you're not going to have a chance to build up social networks. So that is passive social abuse, completely isolating you, completely under his control. Why it's hard to recognise is some of it's normalised. From the very beginning, it happens very subtly, right up until it gets really nasty and violent. Abuse can be disguised as love and concern. Like I said at the beginning, you think your sister's being nasty to you, but brothers and sisters fight. And he uses that excuse not to go back and see her. He comes across like someone who loves you or cares for you, where in actual fact, he's using that to abuse you. He's using that to isolate you. So you don't see that at first. Cultural and religious pressure in some circumstance. Some women are discouraged from separation or speaking out. Families like to keep it under the rug. They don't want to talk about unhappy things. That's not good for culture, reflects badly on them. So they shut you down. That's very, very hard. Hope for change. You believe it's a one-off thing and that it will improve. Well, look, I used to think that too. And we were building a house at one stage and I thought, oh God, once the house is finished, hopefully it'll settle down. And then one day it dawned on me, it was never going to settle down. It was only getting worse and worse and worse. It was never going to settle down. Fear the consequences, retaliation, homelessness, losing kids. He's got control of your funds. He tells you when you can and can't go out. He's the one telling you when you can have your kids, etc. And he's kept you penniless. So retaliation can be in the form of vindictiveness. You leave me, I'm taking the kids off you. Where are you going to go? You're going to be homeless. You've got no money. You can't look after the kids. You're hopeless. You're sick. You're not well enough. I'll look after the kids, but you're not. Or if you threaten to leave him, I'll kill myself. That's emotional blackmail. That's what that is. If you do this, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fight you for custody, etc., etc. They're all retaliation techniques. Okay, if you suspect abuse, if you've been in any of these situations and you're still in it and it's getting worse, first up, trust your instincts. If you're in a household where you no longer smile, you're obviously not happy, okay? If you've got a bad gut feeling about something, it feels wrong, then it probably is. Start trusting yourself again. Talk to someone like a friend, your doctor, a counselling service, support service, anything, anyone, where you can talk about this and make sense of everything that's happened. Because when you're in the middle, you don't see it and you're being thrown into such turmoil. You're surviving one day at a time. Thinking any further than that's beyond. And the thought of separating and being homeless with two little kiddies is scary, scary stuff because you're not thinking from a logical perspective. You're crushed, you're damaged. If you haven't got someone like that and you're in a really dangerous situation, you've got to buy food. Even if he's with you, have a note written. Have it in your hand. Go up to the counter. Can you tell me where the toilets are? And just drop the note over the counter and look at it so she sees that you need to see it, read it. Or you have to go to the toilet. He has to let you go to the toilet. Have a note written. Hand it to somebody. I need help. This is the address. This is who I am. My husband's going to kill me. Whatever the situation is, they are for dangerous situations. There are, if you're not in that situation, but you are in a situation where you need help, Health Direct is a government line. It's a medical service, but they have a heap of contacts. You can phone them up. They're the people that if you get a sick child, they'll say whether the child has to go to hospital or could you see a GP. The child has to be seen today within the next 4 hours. You need to bring that child in now. These are the people that help guide you when you have a medical emergency. But you can say domestic violence, and they should have a whole heap of contacts there, be able to give you a whole heap of numbers and services to contact. You need to find a domestic survivor resource. They're the people that specialise in it. They can help you with everything from finances, helping you get out, etc. Okay. Now, Health Direct is one. Lifeline is another. Lifeline has a counselling service. It also has a toolkit. In other words, it's got some online stuff. It teaches you how to de-stress. There's some stuff there that will be able to put you onto different services, different contacts, etc. They'll teach you mindfulness, so help you relax a bit, because if you can get your tension down, you can think a little clearer. And Relationships Australia, and most councils have some sort of domestic violence policy as well. So there are places to start. And if you haven't a friend or a family, you're sick, you have to go see the GP. If you trust your GP, that's a good place to start. He can put you onto a counselling service. He can actually get you onto a mental health care plan, which means your visits are partly paid by the government. In some cases, totally, it just depends how many services are available. Okay, this is a start. There's a whole heap of stuff I need to talk to you about, but today is just about recognising it. I'm going to be here again next week, and we'll cover a whole heap of other contacts and other stuff you need to know, and hopefully we'll come up with a plan for some of this. I'll see you next week. Take care. You're not alone.